I was exhausted, forgetting my suitcase and slogging through the front door after a torturous 4-day technology convention in Seattle. All I craved was to slump onto my couch and breathe in. But what I was met with was not relief, but something burning and abysmally sweet. Lavender, artificial, synthetic. Office, I don't use air fresheners. Then I saw the TV, blaring some home makeover show I'd never heard of. Confused, I went into my kitchen and stood stock still. Standing in the middle of my home, sipping my best bourbon as if it were a Tuesday afternoon, was Linda, our HOA president, knocking my spice rack. "This has to go. It's so last decade," she said, waving her hand like a TV host redecorating my life. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just nosy. This was a violation, a breach, a declaration of war. Now let me rewind. I met Linda for the first time when she approached me and handed me a laminated pamphlet titled 37 Ways You're Breaking HOA Harmony. She introduced herself as the curator of local appearance. Her eyes did not blink. Her heels tapped with a rhythmic metronome determination. She once fined me for planting daisies, called them attracting butterflies, which were not board-approved pollinators. So I authored documents asking to be exempted from the HOA in its entirety. It appears that Linda had other plans. In the present moment, I was rigid in shock as she mixed bourbon in my kitchen. "Oh, hey, Nathan," she chattered, as if we were buddies having brunch. "I read in the HOA newsletter you'd be out of town, just dropping in for a property inspection." My voice was little more than a whisper. "You entered my house." Linda laughed, actually laughed. "It's not breaking in if I have a key, sweetheart. Page 12 of the Homeowner Handbook, Emergency Protocol." I never got a handbook. I wasn't even in the HOA anymore. I muttered, "Police," 3 times, as if it were in curse. Only then did she walk out, not before hurling one last insult. "Also that backsplash?" Dreary, rethink it. I locked the door and sat down in shock. Perhaps it was an isolated incident. Perhaps she was just being kind. But the next morning, my instincts told me otherwise. A photo frame was fractionally shifted. There was a Thai takeaway container in the bin. I hadn't had Thai food in weeks. My loo roll was a different brand. So I took the reasonable thing to do. I installed a motion-activated camera. Told myself I wasn't paranoid, just aware. The next day, one of my bananas from my fruit bowl was missing. A couch cushion was turned over. My book had been opened to a new page. Then I watched the tape. 2:38 p.m. There she was, Linda. She let herself in, like morning routine. Holding a little white dog in one arm and a look of disapproval on her face, she strutted around, sneered at my book, How to Build a Deck, opened drawers, and even went into my bathroom. I replayed the recording, and again, I was shaking. This wasn't curiosity. This was fixation. Sent the video to myself via email, saved the backups to drives, called up my sister Ava, former cybersecurity tech and my secret weapon. She arrived with a Bluetooth jammer, a surveillance kit, and a smile that promised trouble. "Let's have some fun," she said. We hid cameras inside a wall grill, a table lamp, even the doorbell. Ava set up a sensor under the doormat. Any intruder would trigger an alarm. My house was a digital fortress. Now I just needed bait. I posted on the neighborhood app that I'd be out for a family wedding in the Stadia Lily. I left my car 3 streets away and simulated a departure. Ava and I have our command center in the guest room. Snacks, coffee, laptops, camera feeds on every screen. 6 hours passed. Then at 2:14 p.m., Linda's SUV pulled into the driveway. She came out in a red pastel blazer and sun hat, holding her clipboard aloft like royalty. She tried to use her old key. Nothing. She tried another. Didn't work. Then, she pulled out a lockpick kit. I almost gagged. She grumbled to herself as she opened the lock. "Why do they make things so difficult?" she growled. She walked inside, striding in as if she owned the establishment. That's when the floor sensor beeped. Ava and I stood still. I motioned wordlessly to the police dispatcher. Linda checked my cereal, dusted a frame, scoffed at my couch throw, then headed upstairs, sat on my bed, sniffed my shoes, and flipped through TV channels. Then, knock, knock. Two police officers stood at the front door. Linda bolted downstairs, already rehearsing her lie. "I'm the HOA president," she beamed. "Just doing a wellness check. The homeowner invited me." The officer raised an eyebrow. "The homeowner dissolved the HOA 6 months ago, and we've watched the tape." Linda's smile cracked. "I have a key. That's legal." "No, ma'am, it's not." They cuffed her right there. Neighbors gathered in the doorway, phones in hand. She shrieked like a banshee. "You'll regret this, Nathan." I emerged calm. "You broke in, Linda. You left fingerprints, dog hair, and insulted my spice rack." A neighbor guffawed. We posted a 90-second clip on the internet. Linda sniffing shoes, digging through my books, getting cuffed. It went viral. 30,000 hits within hours. But the HOA, they fought back. 3 letters arrived. A $2,500 fine for unauthorized security upgrades. A ticket for causing a disturbance in public, aka Linda's arrest. And a third for creating a hostile environment. I was in stitches. They were charging me for stopping a break-in. And then, worse still, I was cited for grass too long. I cut it 2 days in advance. Barking dog noise. Wasn't even my dog. House numbers not reflective enough. I put up Chrome instead. Linda, released from jail, played victim online, wailing, clutching roses, claiming she was wrongfully detained. But I had receipts. Residents started coming forward. Sarah, a widow, was ticketed for a memorial bench to her late husband. Others were cited for excessive flags. 1 American, 1 Navy. A former HOA board member, Greg, provided me with emails of Linda and others plotting containment plans against non-compliant homeowners. I compiled, asked for an HOA audit. I hired a lawyer. Then someone egged my front door. Included a note, "We clean up this community. You got what you deserved." We found Linda's foundation smeared in the mess. Neighborhoods rallied to her defense. Ava established a public forum. Residents brought horror tales. One woman was fined for a shed because she complained to the board. The final straw? Greg brought proof of Linda embezzling HOA money, paying her cousin's contracting firm for repairs that never materialized, and building a gazebo in her own yard using HOA money. We laid it all out at an emergency HOA meeting. The clubhouse was filled to capacity. Residents stood, screamed, cried. Ava played video footage, projected forged citations. Sarah spoke, voice cracking, about her husband's memorial bench being called a loitering hazard. The vote to remove the entire board? Unanimous. No applause, just silence. The weight of justice sinking in. 2 nights later, security footage showed Linda skulking near my yard, violating her restraining order. We filed a report. Then a final letter appeared on my doorstep. "You think you've won. Some locks won't stop me." A picture of me at the HOA meeting was taped on it. We installed security once more. Floodlights, panic buttons, sensors. But Linda's reign of terror was over. Her shadow still cast its darkness, but the community was strong. Children played in the park again. Flags waved freely. Sarah sat on the new open HOA board. Ava made the records transparent. And me? I got a new spice rack. Reflective chrome. Because now, this was home. And no clipboard dictator would ever take it back.